Happy Friday and welcome back to Drinking by My Shelf. My name is Emma and I have now been on BookTube for more than 4 years. So I decided it's time to look back on one of my first ever videos at all, and definitely my first ever book haul, and see if I actually read those books. When I filmed that video back in 2016, I don't think I even knew the word book haul. I didn't know what that was because I called the video "Why Did I Buy These Books?" which is not as catchy a title. I'm just looking at the video right now on my computer screen. I'm wearing a very 2016 choker and I don't remember what books are in this video at all, so let's see. I also have a feeling that this video is going to have really annoying background music in it the whole way. I used to put music in all of my videos and it was that like little whistling tune. I quite liked that song. It's like an end screen track, but I have a feeling it's going to go the whole way through and it's going to drive you and me insane. So on June the 10th, 2016, I uploaded "Why Did I Buy These Books?" And let's find out, why did I buy them? That's literally a potato peeler. Hang on. Okay, so I was right about the music, and also I remember making this joke. But what I can't remember is if it was staged or not, because why would I have a potato peeler by my bed? I think what happened is I went to the kitchen to get the can opener, the bottle opener, picked up a potato peeler and brought it back, but then noticed, but then was like, that's funny, so I kept it in. I think that's what happened. Maybe it was all genuine, I don't actually remember. Oh! Cheers! Once again, drinking by my shelf with all new books that I've bought this week. Oh, it tastes like holidays. I thought I'd go and show you some of the exciting books and why I bought them. I'm quite into this editing, you know. Shrill by Lindy. It's not that there was one reason why I bought this book. I would have had to have had an amazing reason to not buy this book. My makeup looks terrible. Mainly, I've heard a lot about it from Louise O'Neill, who I obsessively follow on Snapchat. I don't remember following Louise O'Neill on Snapchat, but I love that. And she's been talking about this book. Also, I follow Lindy West on Twitter, and she's really funny, and I love everything she writes. It's subtitled Notes from a Loud Woman, and I just love that it's unapologetic in everything that women are criticised for being: shrill, loud, and fat. That's not in the title of the book, but that is a lot of what it's about. I love the look of this book as well. I love that colour scheme, and I especially love pink. Okay, so yeah, I did read that book. I'm pretty certain I read that one while I was doing my Masters at Oxford, which was that year, so it wasn't too long after. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I never love non-fiction in general, and I never love essay collections. It's always like, I love some of them, and then I kind of always get bored. That's terrible to admit, but I've also admitted that before, so you guys know that. So yeah, I felt the same about it as that, but I did really enjoy it. I think Lindy West is a great writer. She's very funny. Next, we have a book I'm very excited about, Hot Little Hands. This is a collection of short stories, and I got sent it, the Kindle edition, and absolutely loved it. I've actually bought 3 copies, 1 for me and 2 to give out to friends. I found myself actually just gripped and compelled to keep turning the pages, which usually doesn't happen for me in short stories. You get to the end of one story and then you have to start all over again. Whereas in this one, even though it's all new characters, all new settings, they're set in different places across the world, it still felt like it was part of this one narrative that I just couldn't stop reading. Yeah. Well, I already told you, but I did read that book and I loved it. I actually really want to reread it. I haven't read it again since then, but everything I'm saying about it, I remember feeling that way and loving it so much. I guess I've been kind of cheating when I said that I bought all of these books. I didn't buy this one, I was given it by a friend. This is The Outside Lands. It hasn't come out yet. My friend works at a publishing house, so I get advance copies sometimes, which is great. You know what's funny? You know which publishing house that is? The one I now work at. And it's about a brother and a sister in California in the 60s, in San Francisco, and about how the conflict in Vietnam affects each of them. It looks like it's going to be kind of tragic. So I did read that book, and I actually don't remember very much about it at all. I think it was one of those books that I really enjoyed while I was reading it, and then just didn't really stick with me. I mean, I guess because this was 4 years ago. Now this one I am super psyched for. Jonasson has written The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out the Window and Disappeared. I can't even tell you how much I adored it. Then he wrote The Girl Who Saved the King of Sweden, which was also hilarious, and I didn't even know a third one was coming out. This one's called Hitman Anders and the Meaning of It All. I didn't even look at the blurb or anything. It was written by Jonasson, and then that was all I needed. I was getting it. Yeah, so I never read it. I still haven't read it. I read his next book. He then wrote an actual sequel to The 100-Year-Old Man called The Further Adventures of the 100-Year-Old Man, and I read that one, but I never read Hitman Anders. I think because the reviews weren't great, and also Archie, I think, he was right there. Arch, did you try to read Hitman Anders and then give up on it? I think Sophie tried to read it and gave up on it, and I feel like you also did.
Yeah, I might have DNF'd it.
I think both RG and my sister DNF'd it, and so I just never bothered picking it up. But I still have it. It's sitting on my shelf at home because the covers of all of his books go together so perfectly that I wanted to keep it. And I still, in my mind, I'm like, one day I'll read it, but I don't think I'm ever going to read it because no one I know has liked it. Fangirl. I have not read any Rainbow Rowell before, which is rare because people are obsessed with her and I can't believe I haven't read any, but I just haven't. I am part of the Girl Gang book club, which anyone can be part of. You can just join, just search it on Twitter, #here. We're going to read it this month. I love the colours of this book, just for a start. Green is my favourite colour. I love this title, Fangirl, because I'm a massive fangirl about so many things, so I feel like this is going to be #relatable for me. I actually didn't find it relatable at all. It was a fun book, Fangirl, but it's not really my thing. Like, I'm not quite the right audience for it. I don't read a lot of contemporary YA like that, and the main character wasn't relatable for me. But she's very, very relatable, I have heard, to a lot of people. She's basically an introverted teenager who loves writing fan fiction and goes to university and really struggles with how extroverted and social you really need to be to, like, get on at university, especially in your first year when you're meeting all these people. I've seen a lot of reviews of people saying how much they love seeing themselves represented in Kath, so that's great. I'm not that person, and so I didn't relate to her very much, and then that type of book isn't really my thing. I love so many things about this book. I love the title, The Square Root of Summer. I love that cover, I love the colours, I love the font, I love what it's about. It's a love story, but a love story with time travel. I have a guilty pleasure obsession with books involving time travel and other universes, even though almost every time I read them I'm always disappointed. So I'm like, that's not how time travel would work. Yeah, so I remember this book. I still love all those things about it. I love the cover and the name and everything. I read that book on holiday in Greece that year with my family, and it was so confusing. Like, I have honestly no idea what happened in that book. I also think when I read it, I had been lying in the sun for too long, because I remember suddenly feeling very overwhelmed and very hot and dizzy and confused, and the book wasn't helping. So my memories of that book aren't great, but it might be nothing to do with the book. I might have just had heat stroke. I'm so happy that I've got this book. This isn't a new book. It's been out for a few years now, but it's only relatively recently that I discovered Jessie Cave on Instagram. So she is the girl who played Lavender Brown in Harry Potter, and she now does these little doodles, and they are hilarious. They're all about dating, basically. They're all a little bit weird and a little bit cutesy, and they're just adorable. So I'm excited to have a whole book full of them to read, probably on the loo. Yeah, I did read them all. I don't remember if I read them all on the loo, probably. But yeah, they were very sweet. Another book club pick here. It's funny, I remember I used to join so many online book clubs when I first was in BookTube. I even had like a monthly video I would do talking about the different book clubs I was part of and what we were reading for them all. But they were all book clubs. It wasn't like buddy reads. It wasn't like book clubs that were really interactive and I was part of. It was just like online book clubs that you could follow along with, and I joined all of them, and I always had way too many I had to read, and I thankfully realised I didn't have to do that. This is Persepolis, which is the June pick for Emma Watson's book club, Our Shared Shelf, which I'm part of on Goodreads. Oh, I can put that there now. Ooh, no hands. I've never read a graphic novel before in my life. I'm really excited to try something totally brand new for myself, and also to be doing it as part of Emma Watson's book club, because there's so many other people in that club who join in, so you get so many different perspectives, which is great. Yeah, so I did read that. It was a 5-star read. My first graphic novel. I've read quite a few since. Still not loads, but I've read a lot of really brilliant 5-star graphic novels about quite heavy issues, like Persepolis, like Mouse. It turns out I really enjoy graphic novels, so I should read more, and I'm glad I started with that one. What a great one. And then finally, Vagina, a new biography. I have a feeling that I'm going to hate this book, but I bought this one as part of the Banging Book Club. Told you. The Banging Book Club is run by 3 YouTubers, Hannah Witten, Lena Norms and Lucy Moon. They take turns hosting a video with their thoughts on the book on their channels. They also do a podcast, which is a bit longer, talking about the books, and people are encouraged to make their own videos and upload them, and they put them all on a playlist. It's a really fun interactive book club. This was actually the book for last month, but I will try and catch up. I loved what the girls had to say about it. So they were talking about how reading this book made them feel more in touch with their own vaginas, which I thought was great. They did say, however, that they didn't agree with everything in this book, and I think that I'm going to feel the same. It sounds like Naomi Wolf perpetuates a lot of strict gender differences, which I don't really buy into and don't really enjoy reading about. I do love the fact that it's a book called Vagina. I love that it's a whole book dedicated to the vagina, which we're usually told not to talk about and to feel ashamed of. And I'm really excited to read this one in public on the tube with the cover right there, but I can imagine myself getting a little bit pissed off with this one. That's so funny because that's literally all I remember about reading this book. I have no recollection of anything in it. I don't remember if I liked it or didn't like it. I don't remember if I finished it or not. I just remember enjoying reading it on the tube because people would stare and I felt powerful. But yeah, I don't know if I read it. I probably read bits of it, and then knowing me and what I'm like reading non-fiction, I probably read little extracts and then skipped a lot of it. That was my Friday shelf. Do let me know in the comments if you have read any of these books, if you have any recommendations. You can also add me on Snapchat to see my reactions as I read them. No, you can't. That doesn't exist anymore. Don't forget to subscribe below by clicking here. I'm going to try and do a video every week. My shelf is tilting somewhat. It does have a hook, but the hook is over there. So thanks for drinking with me and my shelf, and I'll see you next time. Love that. You know what? For almost my first booktube video, I don't think that's bad at all. The music is very annoying, but I was quite into that. And also really proud that I basically did read all of those books. There was only one on that list that I literally still haven't picked up, which is impressive because these days I feel like every month the books I haul, at least half of them just go onto my shelf, never to be seen again. So, early days, little baby booktuber before she had such bad buying habits. So that was my video for the day. I'm going to go out and enjoy the rest of this in the sunshine. I hope you all have wonderful Fridays and I will see you soon. Bye!